I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me.
Free deals, how to bring income into your life by just trading your effort, your ability, your skills, your communication out there every single day to go and find unbelievable discounted properties for free. So before we do that, we want to obviously welcome the third member of our party here, Albert. Albert, how are you, brother?
I'm fantastic. Happy New Year to everybody out there. Happy New Year, gentlemen in here. Amazing. Ready to start a new year.
Guys, listen, Albert is running the comments today. Alejandra is out again. And so it's going to be exciting. So, Albert, make sure that you pick the best comments. I'm sure that you will.
Nothing but the best.
But let's start with this, Ryan. So,
hit me.
You have zero budget.
$0.
Right? You're getting out there. You're new to this. You're feeling a little bit awkward.
Yep.
Right? You haven't had a tremendous amount of conversations with property owners about real estate, but you've got this burning desire to do something special. You know that real estate is the vehicle that's going to help you get there.
Right.
That this is an asset that is hundreds of thousands of dollars. And typically, when you find a discounted property, you're going to make about 10%.
Yep.
10% income is the average that people are making around the country when you find a discounted property and you assign that opportunity to another investor, to a cash buyer that either wants to hold it for a long time or they want to flip it or maybe they want to wholesale it to somebody else that they know as well, right?
Right.
And that's what I wanted to talk about off the bat.
Let's do it.
All right?
Yep.
So what I wanted to talk about is you start with zero money.
Okay.
You're looking for opportunities. You're a little bit, whatever. How do you get going?
So, I mean, first things first, we talk about this on a few of our episodes, but I think you need to have backing of a buyer. You need to have the actual capability to purchase a property. So what exactly does that mean? I'm talking about going and finding people that are in the industry, in the market that you're in.
Yeah.
Getting on social media, you can find buyers. This is super easy.
Okay.
You go on there, you find the actual buyer. You say, hey, I'm a wholesaler. I'm going to find value by bringing you deals. You're going to get the first looks on everything that I have.
Yeah.
Could you by chance give me the backing and capability to be able to go to people and say that I'm an actual buyer?
Love it.
So obviously being able to go and say, hey, I want you to understand that I have the capability of buying this to an agent, to a seller, to another wholesaler. That is the step one.
Right.
Once you have that buying capability, I mean,
but isn't that scary? I mean, how do you just start that? How do you go off the streets, out of nowhere, and all of a sudden you're just calling up people that are experienced in this business? How do you not sound amateurish? How do you not sound awkward? How do you not sound like you're just fumbling and stumbling and hoping that somebody's going to do business with you?
I think that's a really good question. A lot of it's going to be confidence. You have to, I mean, a lot of people will tell you fake it till you make it. You have to go and be vulnerable. I don't know what it is about the whole vulnerable, authentic, genuineness of just being yourself.
Yeah.
But then you just TTP.
I love it.
You go and you talk to these people and you're honest about them, like, hey, I have not done this before. I'm going to ask that if I bring you a deal first, you have to remember that is some serious value to these fix and flippers. Remember what we always say, the hardest part of being an investor, a fix and flipper, a buy and hold investor, whatever the case is finding a deal.
Yep.
So if it's a struggle for them to find a deal and now they've got someone that's new, has no idea what they're doing, and they just have to show them what to do and show them the ropes, that person is like $1 million value,
Right.
because they're going to go out and they're going to work harder than anybody else. They're not going to be the brand or the wholesaler that's been doing it for a year that might be bringing the deals to 5 other fix and flippers to see what they'd pay.
Yep.
They're going to bring it to this fix and flipper first.
Love it.
So
You know
yeah.
what I see happen?
What's that?
This is what I see happen a lot in our industry when people are getting started. And it's something that Keegley really put out there, really got loud to the public. People really understood kind of the process of this, which is find somebody that already found the deal.
Yep.
Work with the cash buyers that you're communicating with all the time,
Yep.
and match them up.
Correct.
So what happens, and I'll pull it up here, Matt, I'm going to send you a couple emails, if you'll just pull them up as we're talking, of examples of when wholesalers blast out a property.
Yep.
People are literally taking them, putting them into Excel and sending it out to their own buyers,
Right.
and marking them up $2,000, $3,000.
Right.
And they do it every single day. They get on every single wholesaler site.
Yep.
Right, and then they go and they'll put it into Excel. They'll add 2,000, 3,000, and send it out every single day and say, "Hey, here's the new inventory."
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
And some wholesalers like that. Some wholesalers don't like that. What I will say is, with that strategy, if you're just going to go and get on everybody's wholesale blast outs, and you're going to be sending those to your buyers, make sure that you're communicating really well
Have to.
with the
Have
people
to.
that sourced that deal, that
Have to.
found that deal.
Because if
you're
they
gonna play-
find out that, and you're not getting permission, you could burn that relationship like that.
most people don't get permission.
I know. Well, that's just it. That's why there's the option agreement. There's the, hey, let me have the ability to sell this, but you could still do the same thing too. And if I could sell it, I'll bring it to you. So it's creating that open relationship from the start, setting expectations most importantly, and then following through with actually having good enough buyers to buy those deals.
That's it. And the most important thing is being able to close, having the
Yes.
real buyers
Yes.
out there.
Yep.
Having the real buyers out there
Yes.
that are going to actually make it as smooth as possible for the person, that the wholesaler, the business
That did the deal or brought the deal to the table.
that sourced it,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Because and listen, I know people that make $1 million a year doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Well over $1 million a year. Zero marketing budget. All they do is communicate really, really, really well.
I love
They
it.
they play both sides. They will commit to the deal. Hey, I want to buy this deal.
Yep.
They'll reach out to the wholesaler. Hey, I want to buy this deal. Right. They put in their earnest money,
Yep.
and then they go and then they sell it to their database. Right.
Absolutely.
And that's the whole that is the co-wholesaling part of it. That's what
Right.
Keegley does. That's their model. That's the model of a lot of people that are just starting out that don't have a huge budget to get to get that $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 deals. These are smaller deals.
Of course, yeah.
These are smaller deals because that wholesaler's getting paid.
They're the one that has the best margin.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Right.
So if you want to go out there, one strategy for this business that we don't often talk about is you go out there and you build an incredible relationship with cash buyers, or maybe you just have a few. Maybe it's your cousin, maybe it's your uncle, maybe it's somebody that you know, maybe it's your mentor, whatever it is. And then you go and you build that relationship where they will communicate quickly if they want that deal or not.
Right.
Then you go back and you can start committing to these deals with these wholesalers that are coming out, and
I think
boom,
that
you
was
play
a
the middleman.
very important part that you just said there. You need answers quick from your buyers.
Of course.
So you can't go to the like with a hedge fund, for example. They usually need 24 to 72 hours for response time.
Right.
You can't have a buyer that you go to that's going to give you, hey, let me have till the end of the afternoon. You need a buyer that's like, I got this. Or if they don't, they've got someone on their team or someone that they work with that could say, let me have them underwrite it really quickly.
Let me ask you this. How many of your deals are co-wholesaled? You sell it to somebody, they sell it to somebody else.
Oh my gosh, I'd probably say about 75%.
75%.
And that's with MLS too, which means that either one, we're letting there be enough spread to where it makes sense to there's still a fee for somebody else, or two, I mean, some people just have better buyers than I do.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
it.
I would say that honestly, at the end of the day, I would rather almost allow somebody else that has a better buyer that is going to perform. I have no issue selling to wholesalers. A lot of times that is our deals, and who we sell to is with these other people that are in the industry. I tell everyone this for the longest time. I had 5 buyers, 3 of which were other wholesalers. I'd bring them a deal, and I knew that they were actually able to buy. But then 2, they would tell me. We had that upfront conversation where they'd be like, hey, honestly, this deal I could buy at this price, so I'll still commit even if it falls through with my buyer. However, if you're cool with it, I'm going to make an extra 20, 30K myself. And I have to take away the ego and be happy for them and understand I got the price I was looking for. They got the price they were looking for. Now I've got another relationship too in the picture.
Love it. Love it. Matt, I just sent you that email. It's just an example of what these wholesale blasts look like and what people do. They take the pictures, they take the links, they take the description,
exact same
they
thing.
put it in, and then they resend it out. Some people will literally resend it out the same blast just
with the higher price.
$5,000 higher.
Yep, that's all it is.
Happens all the time.
All the time. Every day.
Market.
Every day.
And listen, if you've got a good relationship with the person that sourced the deal and you've got incredible buyers, that is a valuable service. You're playing middleman there. You know, if you're giving them the best the best deal, when they blast it out and you're giving them the best price on that deal, then they want to work with you, they're going to keep working with you. And then all of a sudden they just start bringing it to you, which is kind of bananas and not something that I suggest anybody does. I don't think anybody should be a cash buyer employee. I think it's short-sighted, and if that cash buyer decides that they want to go on vacation or they want to stop or whatever else, then you're in a really tough spot. But here's an example here. Pull this up here, Matt. And this is Sell Wholesale Houses.
Shout out
They've
to Jack.
been around for forever. Yeah, Jack and Chris Iman, fantastic company. But this is an example of what a blast looks like, and they send these out on a daily basis.
Yep.
And these guys are co-wholesalers. These guys go and they'll commit to these deals. They have a hard money company behind them. They literally are a hard money company.
Yep.
They'll close on these deals if they can't sell it. But they built up such a buyer base over since 1998. Did it say 99? That they've been building up their buyer base, that they sell all these deals and they'll make $5,000 to $10,000 on each one. This is how you get paid to play middleman with zero marketing budget.
Absolutely.
And the reason I want to bring this one up first, because we'll get into some MLS stuff and we'll get into being loud on social media. That's kind of the three pillars that we want to talk about. But co-wholesaling is very, very powerful. But I will tell you, your ability to over-communicate with both parties is the key to that. It is the absolute key. Committing to a deal, putting the earnest money down on that, and then selling it to your cash buyer database. Make sure you know your numbers. Make sure you have those buyers that are ready to make a decision right now so that you're not losing those non-refundable earnest deposits.
And let me ask you this now. So you said like getting loud and communicating is like the number one piece here. I know, for example, with Keegley, there's Hunter, who's the integrator type. Do you think it's possible for people that are maybe more soft-spoken, quiet people to do this?
Absolutely.
To play middleman? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, listen, most communication in 2022 is a text message, a DM. It is.
Absolutely.
It is. And if you really want to drive people crazy, send them voicemail texts.
Right.
Don't do that. Don't send me one. I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to listen to it. But that's just me. Anyway, Albert, your thoughts. Your thoughts on this co-wholesaling, being the middleman, building up your cash buyer database. What struggles do you think are going through? And by the way, I want to open this up to the audience. This is a question and answer show. We warm up, get everybody going, and then answer the questions. So I hope we're getting some good questions and comments coming in. Not yet, yes?
Not yet.
Not
I'm
yet.
waiting for
We're warming
some
up. We're
good
warming up.
questions to come in.
All right, good.
But here's my thoughts when I think about that, right? It's all about a great relationship. And the one thing that a lot of people and what I've learned to struggle with is you got to find the right buyer. And by the right buyer means like all buyers are not the same, right? You never know what someone's situation is. Whereas a fix and flip, like they're turning and burning, right? Versus the mom and pop that just got into it. They're happy to take down a conventional loan. They're happy to just live in it for a couple of years, then flip it, avoid their capital gains, and move on. And that tells you, wait, this buyer can pay more than this buyer, even though it's the same deal. A good deal is all relative to some people. You never know what a person is willing to pay, and that's where that co-wholesaling comes from. Now it's, let me blast out to my network. That network blasts out to their network. And if you have that good relationship, there's nothing wrong that, you know, it's mutually beneficial. You got your price, I got my price, everybody wins. Plenty on the table for everybody to win.
Love it. Love it. And that's it. It's just reaching out. It's just building up that cash buyer database, building up that relationship.
Without a doubt.
What about reaching out with agents? What about MLS? What about going after these? Because what's your current marketing budget right now?
I mean, we're at like $3,000 a month. But that's not even
what
really
are you
that crazy.
averaging a month?
Oh, 6 figures.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, $100,000.
Yeah.
So
we ran last year at about like 77% profitability.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's bananas.
Most people are 20 to 30. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And that's because
It was all agent outreach and MLS deals. Obviously, there's some fees that come into being licensed with having to pay your MLS dues and whatnot. But when you put it into comparison, I mean, we're talking like $1,000 a month, $500 for an MLS, $500 for the association. As for agent outreach, though, this is the most important piece. As you guys know, this is like what I will get on the pedestal and talk about all day, all night long. The thing is with going into doing this, the whole thing with agent outreach is that it's free.
Yeah.
So when you're talking to sellers, and a lot of times you'll watch these videos and everyone's like, this is how you talk to a seller, this is how you door knock, this is this. A lot of times it's discouraging where you're talking like you're getting almost insulted by the sellers. You're getting cussed out, you're getting the straight up no, you're getting, honestly, it's a mindset hurdle in itself. There's a lot of limiting beliefs that come.
Yeah.
So now when you flip it and you talk to agents, just like how we said the hardest part's finding a deal for an investor, the hardest part for being a realtor, especially in today's day and age, is finding a client.
Right.
We are all buyers because the first step was to have actual buying capability behind us. And now once you have that buying capability and you're talking to agents on a daily basis, those conversations 95% of the time should be ecstatic.
Right.
They should be jumping up and down being like, this is exciting. This is super. I have a cash buyer that's going to close in 2 weeks or less. There's no appraisal. They're taking it as is. I don't care. I could even be representing both sides and making twice as much commission as an agent.
Yep.
That to me is what is absolutely mind-blowing why people are not pushing agent outreach in 2022.
Right.
So
Agent outreach and getting them off
MLS,
the MLS
deals, correct.
Right?
Correct. And we've got a few things in the works with that, but there's
filtering through the MLS.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Finding the opportunities.
Right.
Reaching out. When it's on the market, are you guys, the on-market properties that you are getting, the 77% profitability that you have in your business, you guys obviously have a system for looking at, you're not going to offer on every property.
Correct.
You offer on specific properties.
Very specific properties.
Is it properties that have been on the market a certain amount of time?
Yep. So 30 plus days on market is my minimum.
Yep.
I would tell you in this market, we're still a seller's market. We saw a lot of it through 2020, 2021, 2022 even still, is that right now, if it's a good deal, it's gone. It's got multiple offers.
Right.
We have a property that we just put back on the market. We're under contract. We had 2 backup offers come in.
Yeah.
Backup offers.
Yeah.
These are hoping that we fall through so that their offer can be accepted.
Yeah.
So targeting market or days on market as 1 to 5, you're competing against the general public that are looking to buy as actual primary residence.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at the investors that are looking for the deal thinking that there's only day 1 on market opportunities out there. So when it's 30 plus days, there's something wrong. It's not selling. It might be overpriced. It may be condition. It may be that the agent and seller don't have the right expectations and communication set.
Yeah.
So when you start targeting 30 plus days on market, now you dial it in even a little bit more. Specific cities, zip codes, neighborhoods.
Yep.
But what
How do you pick those?
Because when you do the step 1, your buyer tells you what they're looking for.
So you're like reversing. Yep.
Find the buyer first.
Got it. So you know what the buyer's looking for, and then you build a buy box around it. You look for properties that are there that are over 30 days. Now, from list price to the actual price you get it at or offer price, what's the percentage difference there?
So that's where a lot of people have this limiting belief that you have to offer around list price.
Right.
Albert, what was the best one you got last year?
I got that one 6 figures off its list price.
Yeah.
So it was listed for what, and you got it for what?
Was it? I think it was in the 6s,
and we got it.
I got it in the 5s.
Yeah,
Right.
it might have even been. It was high.
I think it was 5s and the 4s.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was high 5s. You got it in high 4s.
High 4s.
And so if you were to put a percentage on it, if it's listed at 300,000, what do you think you have to get it at?
It depends on what the ARV is. So in that instance, if it's worth maybe 375 because they understand it needs a little bit of work, but they're still being unrealistic, not knowing a fix and flipper, that isn't a deal at 300.
Right.
So for us, I'd say if it was in that instance where 375 ARV, 300.
So you're comping these properties before you offer?
Absolutely, yes.
How fast can you comp a property?
30 seconds.
And you do that based on what's selling in the neighborhood?
In the neighborhood has to be something similar condition-wise or remodeled. If it's not and it's just standard or stock, whatever, then I'm being mindful knowing that that property that sold being stock is probably just a little bit underpriced.
Got it.
Now, if I could find one that's remodeled, similar square footage without crossing any main roads, money. That is where I could sell at. And then I'm obviously I'm looking at price per square foot, bed bath count. Is this single story versus 2-story? Are we any other added value of being a cul-de-sac, pool? Are we on a main road? Factoring all those things. And then I'm just reverse engineering it, figuring out, okay, if ARV's here, they're listed here, I could probably get that one at like 260, 270.
Yeah.
With commission, 275.
Right. And because you're getting paid.
Absolutely.
Right.
And so I could take a smaller wholesale fee with getting the commission to make it make sense.
Love it.
The difference between off market and now on market is we have the advantage that most of the time we get a peek inside the house already. So we have an idea, because that's why we can't do a blanket number. Some are complete gut jobs. Others is, I can put some flooring, some paint in here and increase the value. I just need to get the house at X price to make that work. So wholesales are a lot more available to us, because we have on MLS most of the time 90% of the properties have some type of pictures to give you an insight. All right, this is what I need to do. Versus off market, you kind of got to set it up, blanket it, get in the house, then figure out your number.
Take
But
the photos, Dropbox,
said,
send it out.
Where do you want to do the work, before or after you see the property?
You said wholesale.
Yes.
Are you guys wholesaling?
Yeah, so that's actually one of our biggest focuses this year. We had a few issues with some contractors and stuff last year, so got some stuff adjusted.
Explain what wholesale is.
Yeah, so a wholesale property, you've got wholesale and fix and flip, right?
Yeah.
Wholesale, or a wholesale, is going to be when you go in, you're doing not a full-on remodel. You're going to go in there, maybe we're going to be a good $60,000 to fully gut this house. We're doing carpet paint. We're going to go in, maybe put $5,000 to $10,000, clean up some landscaping. We might even go out there and do some sweat equity ourselves. Clean up the yard, rake it, whatever the case is, but only putting 10 to 15 in, we're able to maybe not sell, like, for example, that 375, we could sell at 330, 340.
Right.
But if I got it at 280 then, or 285, which is close to 300, plus the commission, a lot of times with the commission and our closing costs, we're into this property 5, maybe 10K.
Yeah.
So if we can go in and do a quick little remodel, get this back on the market in 3 weeks, you may even be rushing to beat your hard money payment, your first payment.
Right.
So it's just not a full remodel, but a wholesale is a little bit more appealing for us this year.
And do you ever just clean it out and not do anything? Just
Absolutely.
Take better pictures, clean it out.
How many times do people on the
take
MLS go
junk
like
out?
this with a flip phone? They flip it up and they're like,
Right.
all right, I got my photo.
Right.
And then they put it up there and they're like,
Right.
this is 2022.
Yeah.
You could have done a better photo by just like having a previous MLS photo. You could have done any other effort and you could have had a better photo on the MLS.
Right.
So a lot of times even just the better photos will make the difference.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's incredible.
Marketing, man.
Awesome.
Marketing.
The third is being loud on
Yes.
social media.
Absolutely.
Letting everybody know. Your one of your big mentors, Templeton. I mean, he is the blueprint for this. I mean,
Absolutely.
he literally, his content is very authentic. His content is very fun.
Yes.
His content is very
Himself.
he does a lot. His volume is strong, and because of that, I mean, how many deals does that guy do a year?
I was just talking to him yesterday. They did 250 transactions.
Right.
1.6 net was his take.
Right.
So, I mean, that's my mentor. That's the guy that has shown me this blueprint and the road of how to, one, be loud, be myself.
So what does he
and
do? What
Dude,
does he do on social media
This
that wins?
is it. There's one step.
Yeah,
Send me your deals.
that's it.
That's it. That's
Send
literally
me
it.
your deals.
Send me your deals.
Send me your deals.
That's
Send
it.
Me, but he does a lot of him walking through the properties that
Correct.
he's doing. He does a lot of showing
vulnerable.
the flips that he's doing.
Right.
He does a lot with. I mean, he's buying from a lot of wholesalers.
That's
right?
90% of it. It's agents and wholesalers.
Yeah.
So he'll get loud on social media where 15 times a day there's an Instagram post on his story. There's one post a day on his actual page where he's not just showing the guy his business. He's showing that he's loud with life.
Yeah.
This is my kids. This is my wife. I'm excited. I'm happy, and I love what I do. And you do that, and you show that you're
You're a magnet.
authentic. Everybody feels like they want
Yeah.
to come to you.
Yeah, you're a magnet.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's literally send me your deals,
Send me
guys.
your deals.
I'm looking for opportunities. Look at this house I'm walking through.
Mm-hmm.
You know, turning the phone around on you
Mm-hmm.
as you're walking around, and getting that interaction, getting people to send you opportunities because they like you, because they want to do business with you, because they want to see that you impact. That some people do it just because they want to see the deal that they sent you on the
On a social
story
media-
or on
absolutely.
on a post or
Or
something.
what happens if, even like we were saying at the beginning, what if you're newer? Don't you feel a little bit more approachable going to a guy that maybe is like showing that he's real rather than saying, look at my Lamborghini, look at my watches, look at everything.
Right.
You can go to a guy like that and feel like he's not going to steal the deal from you. And more importantly, he's going to show you the ropes. Just like how what we were talking about a second ago, being actual backed by a buyer, that is huge.
Yeah.
And if you go to that buyer and he's the guy that's loud on social media, while it is cool that you get to see all this stuff on the story, they're going to show you how to do it. They're going to help you get to where you need to be.
Exactly.
That's what I did with Templeton. I went to him with like 30 deals my first year in wholesaling, and I was like, here, what do? I want 10K. He double closed them all, and he was making 30, 40K rips on them. I didn't care because I was learning, and I was getting the price I was asking for.
Right.
It was money in itself.
By the way, guys, we have an unbelievable interview with Templeton on this channel. Check it out after the show, obviously. But let's crack this thing open. Let's see if we have. Let's start some interaction here. Let's stop just standing on our soapboxes and talking about it. Let's start answering some specific questions. Alex asks, how many times would you recommend calling through your driving for dollars list? Alex, I love this question. So listen, we call through it 3 times. All right, brother? We call through it 3 times, and then we set it aside for 6 months. Okay? But listen, that is a breathing and living list, right? You're always adding to that list. Even if you've done your city, do virtual driving for dollars and go a little bit further out. Find those vacation areas. Find the bigger markets that are maybe an hour or 2 away. Like, you should always be building up your driving for dollars list if you find yourself running out after you've called through it 3 times.
Love it.
Good question.
But really fast, Albert, are we getting a deal while we're on the show?
Yeah, if anyone saw you on camera, that was a deal coming through, MLS deal.
We just got one.
What happened?
We just got a deal.
Comes back around. Like
Wait, through your phone right now?
Yeah,
or through
Discord.
what?
So this is how we communicate as a team. It looks like we got one. We offered 560. They want it at 570.
Okay.
So we're going to take it.
ARV?
I don't know on that one. Probably like 725, something like that.
Fantastic. On the market.
Of course.
I submit good
Yeah,
offers.
Of course.
When did you send the offer?
This one was sent to.
It's been a
few
minute.
Weeks. Yeah.
Really?
And we
So
circle back.
this is
over
our
and over.
biggest thing.
Did they
follow-up.
take an offer and then all of a sudden it fell out and you guys slipped in? What happened?
It's good marketing, right? So we keep an eye on it, and it's good follow-ups. The money's in the follow-up, right? So although they may reject my first offer, which I'm pretty sure on this one that they did, how I programmed our CRM is to keep it on our list because I want to see it all the way through until it closes, because that not only tells us, okay, who bought it? Was it a conventional buyer? It's like, okay, we can't beat a conventional buyer. Don't beat ourselves up. If it's a cash buyer, who is it? How much did they pay? Why did they pay that much?
Love it.
And that's a more, so there's no losing scenario. So even though we lost a property, we didn't really lose a property. Now we know where the market's going.
And also we got a buyer out of it. So now in this case, even if it did fall through or if it didn't, we always ask them, if it sits for another few weeks, is this still your bottom number?
Yeah.
And then they know where our price is. So now they're coming back. They want 10K. Okay.
So explain that to me. So you guys initially reach out to see if there's any offers. Do you guys have a conversation before you send an offer?
We like to build that rapport.
So
with
you
them.
call them up.
Yep.
You tell them your cash offer as is, the whole thing.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Do you throw that all out in the beginning?
Absolutely.
Where
I
cash
don't.
as is, are you paying their closing costs or no?
I don't really lead with that, but
that's something that you could tweak.
Yeah,
That's,
of course.
That's
Pivot.
a knob that you can turn if it's a close deal. Right?
Absolutely.
I personally don't tell them right off the bat that I'm cash offer as is, because I'm offering information that they haven't asked me yet.
Right.
So personally, some people that I've talked to, they felt their clients don't care about that. That doesn't bring value to them in the
Yes.
deal. So my first question is what offers, because that instantly tells me, is this property worth pursuing any longer? Where are the offers at?
Right.
Because if there's some really good ones, I'm like, good for you. You should take that. Why aren't you taking that, right? So it's all these little questions that tell me, okay, is it worth pursuing? And on the case that it is, then I start digging down. What options do they need to move out? What's going on? Oh, they got a cabin up north. It's a busy family. They're trying to move. And I'm like, so what if I told you that I will close quick cash and I'll sponsor a U-Haul for you?
Yeah.
Did that on a handful of deals, and it works every time.
It's motivation and
another
situation.
Convenience.
Figuring out just like what he was getting to is the
People will
motivation.
trade.
They will. It's
Equity is potential equity for speed and
speed and
convenience.
convenience. That's all it is.
Every single day.
And so in this instance too, we don't obviously have all the details right now, but like the whole thing is like, it goes to show you too, there's a million different ways to skin a cat, especially with these MLS deals. Albert likes to go the route of like building rapport, figuring out what their situation and motivation is. I'm straight to the point. But the way I'm doing is I do more of a volume and numbers game where I'm trying to get more out, where there's no wrong or right way to do it.
Exactly.
Not every single time do you even have to call the agent. A lot of times agents don't answer their phone.
Yeah.
Why would they, right?
Yeah.
So when you just don't get them on the phone, I don't believe in leaving voicemails. I just send them a text and I say, hey, you're getting an offer. You'll be surprised how many people call you from there. And if they don't, then they just get an offer in their inbox.
Yep.
So
Happens every day.
every day.
Well, and it's really interesting, and I'm going back to Wholesale Hotline. Pace Morby figured out 147,000 wholesale deals a month.
Wow.
147,000 wholesale deals a month. That's 4,900 deals every single day happen. Like, if you're out there and you're like, man, I just can't get a deal, or I just can't. Listen, stick with it. They are out there. There
Absolutely.
are more opportunities than there are wholesalers.
Oh, without a doubt.
There are more opportunities than there are investors.
Right.
There's a reason why there's 12 million vacant properties in the United States.
Right.
There is a reason why 6 to 10% of the real estate market is in distress at all times.
Yep.
Like, I'm telling you, there are so many opportunities. It's just removing that blockage that it's too saturated. There's too many other offers. There's,
Right.
you know, the deals are getting too thin. There's not enough opportunity. That is all nonsense.
Absolutely.
It is absolutely nonsense. They just got a deal right now while we're doing the show. And that was all from a simple formula. Simple formula. Reach
Easy.
out, see how many offers they have.
Yeah.
Decide if you want to put together an offer. Communicate that you put together an offer. Even if they take somebody else's offer, you can still communicate with them to see if it goes through.
Yep.
Definitely. Just got to stay organized too.
That's
you
all
know?
it is.
That's all it
The
is.
CRM and follow-up, that's huge.
What are you going to make on that deal?
Depends
Come
on
on.
what we do. So probably 20 in wholesale and then 570 commission. I mean,
Right.
we'll walk away with probably about 35,
30.
40.
35.
Yeah.
Not bad. Not bad for a morning.
Not
There you
bad,
go.
yeah.
What else we got, Albert?
Here we go.
Ooh, okay. From Lucifer, I am new to wholesaling and real estate in general. What are some ways I can provide value to my real estate agent friends so they can bring me leads when they have one? Brilliant question. So what can you do to provide value? Guess what? Again, realtors' struggles are finding clients.
Yep.
So you can introduce them to other investors. You can introduce them to other wholesalers. You can maybe, even if you're buying the property, have them list it on the back end.
Yeah.
So obviously you can't commit to that if you're going to be wholesaling, but if you build relationships with your buyers, maybe you can have out of every 5 to 10 deals that they're closing on, one they throw over to the agent. It's something along those lines. And then obviously too, it's just going to be taking action and bringing them value by letting them represent you in a transaction or maybe cutting them in on the wholesale fee. Those deals are opportunities that they close quick, fast, and guess what? As an agent, they're used to a 30 to 45-day close. So if you're able to turn around and get them paid in 14 days, they want more. They're going to ask for how you're doing this, how they can get more involved. Can they maybe give you some capital to invest? Whatever it is. Agents love spending money.
Yeah.
So there's a few different angles.
Matt, is that a cat Cerebus there? Is that what's going on there?
Right.
Is that what that picture is for that for Lucifer Z? Listen, here you want to make agents like absolutely take your calls, take your texts, communicate with you all the time. Build the relationship as you are being proactive in your business and you're calling a ton of these distressed property owners. Most of them aren't going to want to sell to you, but some of them do want to sell, and some of them want retail, and some of them you're going to call in a distressed list, and it's actually a nice house.
Right.
Refer those to your agents.
Yes.
Refer those listing opportunities to your agents. I have a phenomenal agent. His name is Albert. He's going to reach out to you today. He's going to give you everything that you need to make a decision on when you want to sell your house and for how much. And he's going to be reaching out. He's the best in the valley. He's the best in the area. He's the best in the state. Whatever it is, and build that. And it's a reciprocating relationship. You're sending them a ton of listing opportunities. They're making money from those listings. And then when they come across rough properties, rundown properties, properties that really need an investor's touch, they're going to send those back to you.
Of course.
So remember, give them business. If you make somebody money, that's
all this is.
you win.
Yep.
You win. So get them to a position where they have a shot at making income, and they will send you a ton. And that's how you build those relationships.
Without a doubt.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep. Michael asks, Brent and Ryan, how do you negotiate with an agent if the property is on the market?
Yeah, so it just depends on, obviously we gave a few different approaches of how you guys can go about it. Option one is, I'll give you guys my example and then we can let Albert jump into how he does it. So when I call, I like to just tell them, hey, I'm an investor. I'm interested in this property. Obviously from there, they kind of do tell you if there's going to be offers on the property. Once they tell you if there's offers, if there is, I don't like competing against a bunch of other people. I just like to ask right then and there, very straightforward, is it worth me pursuing? I'm going to be at or maybe just a little bit below list. would it be worth it? They're going to tell you, oh, I've got offers at or above list, or they may say, I mean, maybe if I represent you, they'll kind of lead you down the road of if it's even an option. If they don't go that route and they say, I've got nothing on the table, I would say, oh, okay, well, I guess just a few questions. Like, well, can you tell me a little bit about the property? Then once you make it about the property, not about their client, it's much easier to transition to start figuring out the motivation and situation of the seller. Because like Albert had said, they're going to tell you, oh, I've got a cabin up north. Oh, guess what? This is the money one. Hey, I've got a house I'm under contract on. I need to sell this house quick.
That's
okay,
the best one.
That's the best one, because a lot of times the average person in the world needs to sell the home they're in to buy the next one. Contingency.
That's what it's called, a contingent offer. So when somebody gets a property under contract that they want to buy and live in, it's contingent on them selling their own property.
And if they can't
and then
sell it,
all of a sudden, that stress starts coming in. They're not getting the offers. They love this property, and they want to make a decision quickly, and they want to make sure that it goes as smooth as possible and gets closed so it doesn't screw up the purchase of the property that they're going. Remember, from a mental standpoint, they're already moved into this property that they put an offer in.
Emotions.
They're already excited about this property that they're moving into. They're already invested emotionally into this property that they've got a contract on, and now that makes it a lot easier for them to sell this property for speed and convenience. Because the emotions moved from this property over to that one already, and they want to make sure nothing screws that up. And that provides a good window, a good opportunity to get a discounted price.
Absolutely. And so if you're going to, now let's play out that they're not contingent. What happens when they do get under contract? Maybe they need that time that they're under contract to go find another property because maybe they couldn't get their offer accepted without selling this one.
Right.
And I'll tell you guys something. 90% of the world, when they do have this property, they don't have another one. So they have to make a plan. They're going somewhere else. All you need to do is figure out, just like direct to seller, what is their situation? Then the motivation comes from that. So from there, then I obviously just figure out what the property condition is, what the situation and motivation of the seller is. And then from there, once you have it all figured out and planned out, it's much easier to say, okay, I'm going to represent myself. I'm going to have them represent me. Like I was going through the channel there with our TC, and right there she said, maybe we could have them represent us. Like she's throwing unrepresented out, dual agency, maybe get a lower price, whatever the case is, to create that win-win situation, and that's going to get the deal done. So,
well, I love it. I mean, there's a lot of different negotiating points that you can have with agents in the process. Albert was talking, well, I'm not going to show my cards yet. I'm not going to say cash as is because maybe every offer they have is cash as is. How can I set myself apart in this market, in this with this inventory that we're dealing with right now in the marketplace? It's going to come from personality. It's going to come from communication. It's going to come from certainty. It's going to come from, really understanding, is this a good option for this property owner? And if it is, and they like you, you're going to get that deal.
Absolutely. Exactly. 10 out of 10 times. How many times, Albert, last year did we have a deal where we were not the highest offer, that was cash on the table, and they chose us over somebody else?
It's a good percentage because, at the end of the day, the person on the other side of the phone, that agent enjoyed talking to you. And, in today's society, it's hard to feel that charisma, that swag over the phone, that someone's talking to you, that's like, oh, I like this person, like I'm talking to. It's an enjoyable experience that this agent is having. So to do that, suddenly people just want to work with you now because there's just a lot of negativity that everybody is constantly hit. And when you get that positive experience, it's like, whoa, what a refresher. Let me have some more. I want to deal with this person more.
Well, and let me explain it because I just have this perspective because I've been a real estate agent for a long time, since 2004, like full time into it, over a decade. And I will tell you this from the business plan of a real estate agent, you need to constantly be bringing in new clients, new leads, new opportunities. Pipeline. So what happens is when you get a deal under contract, you turn it over to your transaction coordinator. They do all the work. Right now, you do what real estate agents really get paid to do, which is go out there, find the clients, and do the sales side of this business. If for some reason that agent feels like this deal has a good opportunity to fall out of escrow, to not get completed, like this buyer is going to back out or this buyer is not going to be able to buy this property for whatever reason,
Right.
it throws everything off because now
100%.
you have to backpedal. It's almost like you're taking points off the board. You have to it's almost like money is getting sucked out of your account and you have to go back to it. So agents will literally, if they feel confident that you're going to get it closed, take less if their clients, if their clients want to do that.
Right.
But they really are in the driver's seat of giving the advice
Without
to
a
the
doubt.
clients on which offer to take.
Love it.
Yep. Ariana, how can we get access to the MLS?
So you have to bring, like Brent had said a second ago, you have to bring so much value to the agent to where they're going to do that, because there's a lot of trust that comes into them giving.
Well, one, you can get a license, Ariana.
Yes.
You can
Easiest
get your
way.
real estate
Easiest
license,
way.
and which I highly suggest you do if you're going to go full time as a real estate entrepreneur. There's so many benefits of it.
Right.
So many benefits of getting your license. That would be the best way.
Of course.
If not, find somebody, squat up with
Yes.
somebody that is an agent and get access.
Yes, and that's not an easy task. So I like what you said about getting licensed. That's what I'll preach 110% over and over again, especially because 5 years down the road, you're probably going to need one to wholesale anyway. But once you transition, understand that if you go and you want to squat up, you've got to bring an insane amount of value, because the amount of trust that they give to you giving access is that you aren't going to go around them straight to the listing agent.
Right.
So just make sure you understand that you have to bring value to this agent over and over and over again for them to actually be willing to give you access.
Awesome. Thomas, new Astroflipping student here. Well, you have the first Astroflipping student here and the newest. So there you go. Just started the course and participated in the Secret Agent Challenge. What would you say are the first steps I should start with?
First steps is going to be obviously finding the buyer first. If you don't already have the backing and being capable of being a buyer, that's step one.
it.
Step two from there, build an army of agents. This is just agent outreach. You saw the challenge. You saw what I was doing. If you didn't, go back and watch my day. Look at how I handled the conversations with these agents. Everything I was doing was just talking to them, pivoting, and understanding how I could bring value to them.
Right.
It started off by asking if I could get help. That's step one, because agents
So
here.
what do you say?
Hello, my name is Ryan. I'm an investor out here in the East Valley. I'm looking for some help. Could you help me out? And if you notice with my tone there, it was a little bit concerned. It was a little bit naive, almost like I'm newer. I'm an investor. I need help. Going back to understanding the hardest part of being a realtor is finding a client. If they're a good agent and they have motivation to actually do their job, they're going to be like, oh, yeah, I could help you out. What do you need? Well, I'm honestly, look, I got to set the expectation from the start. I know we're in a crazy market right now. I'm not going to be this unrealistic investor that's expecting to get something 30 cents on the dollar, because quite frankly, either I'm sure that you have other clients that would take it, or you might even take it yourself. I'm looking for a deal, maybe even a rental, fix and flip, something that I could just make some money on. As a good investor, any investor will tell you, I just need to make money on this deal.
Yeah.
So then from there, I'm opening up the conversation, setting expectations properly. I'm telling them a little bit about what my buy box is even. Then you start telling them what you're looking for.
Yeah.
They're going to go on your behalf. They're going to start saying, go do this, go do that. I've got this property. So-and-so in my office has properties. Or they may even transition. This is the best one. I also fix and flip, or I have rentals. Now you've got a buyer too.
Yep.
So then you just open up, you start figuring out what their business model looks like. And once you've gotten to this point in the conversation, you know what they need and how you could be the missing piece of their puzzle and bring value to them. So,
Thomas, what I would ask is, what is your minimum standard for new conversations every day? That's what I would look at. What is your minimum standard? Are you talking to 5 new people a day, 10 new people a day, 15 new people a day, 30 people a day? What is your minimum standard? Because I'm telling you, that is the first step. The first step is be in action, having conversations with agents, with other wholesalers. If you're in the Astroflipping program, it's got it all laid out there, I assume. So, just go through that and implement what you just learned by getting on the phone. None of it matters if it's just sticking in here. It has to come out of your mouth. You have to start those communication. You have to talk to people and just make that the core part of your business. The louder you are, the more people you talk to, the more you can network, the more value you can provide, the more money you're going to make.
Brent, that costs so much money, doesn't it?
I mean, listen, you can get, listen, every real estate agent's number is listed.
All right.
First of all.
So it's free.
Second of all, you could buy the whole list and it's free. I mean, it's listed. You could go to realtor.com and put in any city in the country and get a whole list of all the agents that work in that area and just start calling them up.
Yep.
That's what you do. That's how you start that. And then from there, just start building your cash buyer database.
Love it.
There you go. During agent outreach, do you disclose that you're an agent?
Yes, that is a fantastic question. So I don't lead with it. Keep in mind, the rule here, where it's a little gray, is that I have to disclose it. Whether or not it's on the phone, whether or not it's in my offer, whatever the case is, that comes up at one point or another from the good agents typically, because they want to figure out if they're going to get the listing on the back end if they bring you deals. So then what I tell them, or they'll even ask if they could represent me in the transaction submitting the offer. I always just tell them somebody a part of my company is licensed.
Yep.
I'm telling them that because I am disclosing, but also too, if they were to look up my LLC, they'd see I'm the only licensed person and I'm the only person on my LLC. So there I am giving them the disclosure, but then when they also get the contract from us, we have some verbiage in there that states that we are a licensed agent, even though the offer isn't coming from me. It's somebody on the team.
Awesome. There you go. K Slim 6, closed my first deal last Thursday, $10K assignment fee, put another under contract last night.
Boom.
Brother, the wind is behind your back.
go.
Keep going. You are on fire. Keep the momentum. Now listen, before I ring this bell in celebration to you and your success, congratulations, obviously. Listen, keep that money. Keep the money.
No watch.
Keep it, keep it, keep it. Don't get crazy. Don't get spending it on a ton of different things. Whatever you're doing is working. Keep doing that. Pile up that cash. Pile up that cash. All right? Here we go.
Boom.
That is awesome.
Let's
Congratulations, K Slim. Keep it going. Juan, what are you doing for marketing?
Good question. So obviously our answers are going to differ a little bit here. We primarily are focusing just on agent outreach and MLS deals. So our marketing budget is very slim, and we just raised it this year. Like, we are literally targeting direct to seller on the smallest margin possible. It is just cold calling sellers.
Yep.
So I have batch dialer. We have a list of agents. What am I missing? Is that it?
Sorry, I'm still focused on the
Batch
comments right now.
dialer and a list of agents.
For marketing.
For marketing.
Oh yeah, that's about
That's
it.
direct to seller.
Yeah, direct to sell,
We're
that's it.
open to doing mailers this year, but again, we're targeting sellers, not buyers. That's it. So we're keeping everything under a $3,000 a month marketing budget.
Juan, here's the deal. You have three options. Well, first of all, it's interesting that you put marketing here because what I want you to start using, Juan, is lead generation.
Yes.
That's a totally different, even the way that it rolls out of your mouth into your brain. Lead generation is just a more powerful thing to build than marketing. Marketing is fantastic, but it doesn't mean anything. Lead generation means something. And to generate leads, you got three options. Marketing, where you're paying money for people to call you.
Right.
All right? You've got referrals. That's where you build up a network of people that you become the guy. You become the guy in your market that's going to close deals, that buys the ugly properties, that has the cash. That's the investor. That's building up your network there, right? And that's getting referrals. And then the third one is prospecting. Prospecting is way different from marketing because marketing needs a budget. Prospecting, you can go out and knock doors.
Yes.
Prospecting, you can send text messages. Prospecting, you can make cold calls. Those are your three kind of pillars for prospecting, and that is for everybody that's starting out in this business to keep your budget down and your profits high. I highly suggest that you go out and you earn those leads. Right? You go out and be proactive, generate them, make the core of your business, even if it's just you in the beginning, proactive.
Right.
Constantly proactive, constantly communicating with distressed property owners and cash buyers that want those properties. You do that and you win. So, Juan, it just depends on what you want to do. We cold call, we text, we do pay-per-click, and I get referrals. Those are the four ones that we do, and it's wildly successful. So it just depends on, do you have a marketing budget? Do you have a marketing budget for a minimum of 6 months of that current marketing budget? You know what I mean? If not, you better get on the phone. You better get at those doors. You better start sending out some texts, and you'll be successful one.
Love it.
Yep.
All right, from Zach, can you speak on double closing? I've had 2 attorneys tell me they won't do double closing because it's unethical. They say I can't put an end buyer under a purchase and sale because I don't own the property. I wonder what market that's in, because with double closing for us out here, we don't have to use transactional funding. There's 2 different ways to do it. A lot of times they'll use transactional or gap funding, which is where you actually do purchase the property. You use the funds to purchase it. Your name is on the contract. You own it. You turn around, you sell it to your end buyer. The other way of double closing, which is what we do on transactions that we're making over $25,000, we will then go in, we will use an A to B contract. The B to C contract, we just put ourselves as the seller with the end buyer, but all the other terms align. The only 2 that are different is that our purchase agreement has that we are disclosing all of our stuff, the purchase price, and the only thing different is the earnest money amount. So we want to make sure our purchase price is obviously going to be on our A to B. For example, let's say it's $200,000. The B to C might say $225,000, $230,000. That B2C contract's between us as the seller and our end buyer. The only other difference would be earnest money. If you're putting up $500 to $1,000, make sure your end buyer is putting up $3,000 to $5,000 non-refundable.
Yep.
So that's how we do our double closing. As for somebody saying it's unethical, have you come across that at all?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Most title companies feel that way.
Really? Okay.
Oh, yeah. I have a couple questions, though, Zach. Why not assign it?
There you go.
Why not assign the deal? Well, it's too big. Well, then your buyers, then you don't have enough buyers.
Yep.
Like, I'll do we did a $92,000 assignment fee last year. You know what I mean? And that's because I don't care if the buyers know how much money we made.
Do you care about the sellers?
We negotiated it.
What about the sellers?
The
Like,
seller-
what if the seller's gonna
The
not
seller
sign?
gets the price that they wanted.
Okay.
Brent, we want $250,000 for this. Great. Here's your $250,000.
That's been the one
We sold
kickback
it for
I've gotten.
$342.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, somebody else wanted to buy it from us for more money.
Right.
We gave the seller what they wanted, and then the buyer came in and wanted to give us a lot more for it. So, I mean, it's not rocket science here. It just depends on how big your buyer base is. If your buyer base is big, then you can feel confident, because if somebody's bitching and complaining about how much you're making, first of all, they shouldn't be in your buyer base. Second of all,
Right.
Sell it to somebody else. You're only worried about that if you only have a handful of buyers, which could be the case. Now, the other side of things is there's a lot of attorneys. Just network. Find the one that finds it, that's okay with it. There's only a certain amount of title companies in the state that do it here in Arizona. And that's fine. We all know them. We all use them, and everybody's fine. I mean, they put disclosures in. They protect their own self. They'll have the seller sign that the property was sold to somebody else.
Yep.
They don't care.
Right.
Like, we come up with all of these hallucinations that things are going to stop this deal from going through. The seller gets what they want. The buyer gets what they want. You play the middleman, and you win. So don't, first of all, get a referral to somebody that would do it. And second of all, really look into why you're doing double escrow in the first, or double closing in the first place. And if you want none of these, if you just don't want to worry about this at all, it's the very first thing that you talked about on this show is have a financial backer. Have somebody that has the capability, have a partner that you can go and close it. You should anyway.
Absolutely.
Listen, we can't go out there and lie to these property owners and say, hey, we're the buyer of this property, if you don't have the ability to close on this property.
Right.
I'm telling,
that's most
and
important.
listen. I understand if you're just getting started. You're like, well, I thought wholesaling, you didn't have to have money, and you didn't have to have credit, and you didn't have to do this and that and everything else. No, but you do have to have the ability to connect with somebody that does have the money. Like, it's so important. Not only because you're not lying to property owners out there, but two, it gives you supreme confidence if you know that you've got millions of dollars backing you up. And I'm telling you, you don't need the full amount. You need a down payment from somebody in your life, or some investor in your life that you've networked with, the 10, 20%, and then a private money lender will give you the rest every single time.
Every time.
In a day, in an hour.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, the money is out there. But you need to have that confidence, and you need to have the ability to be able to close that so that you go there as the actual buyer. And then when you do have that, Zach, you can close on that deal. You can close on that deal and you can put it on the market. You can clean it up and wholesale it. You can then close on it and blast it out to everybody. And you are the owner on title. So there's a lot of different options there, buddy. But I don't think any of that will stop you. If you have a discounted property under contract, you're going to make a good income on that, whatever strategy that you decide to use there.
All right. From Nadia, where and how to find legitimate buyers?
TTPinsider.com. Matt, do you have TTP Insider? Can you roll that across?
Go.
In there is a resource called Cash Buyer Pack. It is literally a step-by-step guide to show you how to get the 100 best cash buyers like that in your market. All right? Check that out.
Love it.
Check that out. Go there and pull that and start implementing that right away.
There you go.
But just to give you a preview of that, it's pulling all of the people that are doing fix and flips. It's pulling all the resources that you need to find the cash buyers in certain areas. It's phenomenal. Check that out, Nadia. Marcus, do you have any advice for getting or using a contract? I had a mentor of mine write my contract on my first deal. How can I get to where I have my own contract and do not have to use somebody else's? TTPinsider.com. Let's roll that again, brother. TTPinsider.com. It's in there for you.
I love
so
it.
just go grab that. It's the one that we use. I highly suggest that what you do is you take that contract and you take it to whatever escrow company or closing attorney that you've used in the past on your first deal or whatever it is, one that has a good reputation. Bring the purchase contract to them and say, is there any state-specific language that you want in this? Or if you don't want to use mine and you just want to use something that is baller in your market, go to those title company escrow officers or closing attorneys and say, I'm out there, I'm proactive, I'm talking to a ton of people all the time. I just need a purchase contract that you guys love using, that when you see it, you understand it. It's easy to break down and understand all the terms. Can you send me a copy of one of those that I can use? All right, and they should do that. There you go.
Emmanuel, how many people should I be talking to on a daily basis if I want to be full-time? Man, so this is a solid question for us. I will tell you our sweet spot we found, and I'm not just saying it because it's the name of the company. It is 34 agents a day. If you're talking to other people in the industry, just outreach, I like to say hit 50.
Yep.
So if you combine the two, 84 there. But also the right answer here, don't hit 100 or whatever your goal is and be like, done for the day. Keep going. Every single day is going to be different numbers. You're not going to talk to the same amount of people consistently over and over because the amount of calls you're going to make, not everybody's going to pick up. Just keep going. I would say do it as many as possible. Full time, you shouldn't be thinking about like, oh, once I hit this, I'm done for the day. Keep going. So I would say if you actually
set a minimum.
Okay.
Set a minimum standard
Absolutely.
that you
yes.
hit.
It has to be a standard to go off of.
Not a maximum.
Right.
But a minimum. And also, Emmanuel, here's the thing that's really important. You have to look at this business as you're going to do this thing for the next 50, 60, 70 years. I don't know how old you are, but we can do this business until we're old and gray, right? Not us making the calls all the time and doing all this thing, but just putting it in and making sure that you don't get burnt out. I don't mind if you set a minimum standard of talking to 10 people a day if you've never talked to anybody ever. And then all of a sudden the next week you do 11.
Right.
And then the following week you do 12.
Yes.
Like you don't train for a marathon by running a marathon day one. You start out like doing smaller amounts so that you can build your endurance.
Love that.
That's what I want. Build your endurance. Build it into a habit. You need, at some point, you're going to talk to somebody. And this happens to absolutely every single one of us. There is a point where you're calling and calling and calling and it's like kind of draining you and you're dealing with the rejection and you're dealing with not the most positive people in the world and you're interrupting their day and you're doing all this type of thing, right? At some point, it's going to stop draining your energy and it's going to start giving you energy.
Yep.
And that's the point when you're unstoppable. That's the point when you get energized, when you know that for the next 3 hours, this is money time. This is hunting time. This is the opportunity that I could have one conversation that's going to pay me $10, $20, $50, $100,000. When you go through that, Ooh, that's exciting. And what I will challenge you, and I said this on my support call on Tuesday, if you can imagine, Emmanuel, that I am standing there, I'm literally physically standing behind you as you're making your calls. And every hour that you make those calls, I give you $1,000 cash. If I give you $1,000 cash every hour, I would have to tear him off the phone.
You have to.
He would try to put 100 hours in a week. He would be on, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But the fact is, that's where you get to. Without a doubt. Without a doubt, you can make over $1,000 an hour making
oh my gosh,
calls.
without a doubt. Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
2,000, 3,000. How much do you want to make? I'm telling you. But make it a minimum standard. Build up your endurance, and just keep that mentality. $1,000 an hour, $1,000 an hour, $1,000 an hour, and you'll do it. Because the average is 20 hours to get a deal, Emmanuel. 20 hours to get a deal or 200 contacts. If you're getting 10 contacts an hour, those are about the same. So it's 20 hours or 200 contacts, good quality conversations with the actual owner. Not just that you have 200 addresses that you're going after or that you made 200 dials. Actual conversations. 200 that you make, you should get a deal for every 200 people that you speak to. 199 of them will reject you. Actually, 180 of them will flat out reject you.
Yes.
19 of them will kind of, maybe, will tell me what you want. And one will be serious, and that's the one that you're going to close.
Boom.
Boom!
All right, from John. Do sellers see your assignment before closing? They see it at the closing table on the settlement sheet when they go to sign on the closing docs. This is why I was asking you a minute ago. It's like a lot of times what we find, especially with the on-market deals, is that we are going and saying that we're the buyers. So a lot of our kickback is seller goes to sign, their agent's there, and they're like, what's this assignment? Yeah, who is this assignment fee? So they do see it. That's where a lot of people will go with the transactional funding or double closing. But to Brent's point too, just assign it. It's okay. You're in this business to make money, and they understand as investors. And guess what? Even if they don't understand, they don't respect that, odds of you doing business with them again anyway are pretty slim because they don't know how this works. So you obviously just want to be upfront and honest with them and say, we moved it to another LLC with a partner. We're JVing this deal with this person. Well, honestly, we just sold this deal. However you want to approach it with them. But yes, they do see it before closing.
So, John, just to give you an idea. So what happens is if you look, and I wish I had one because this is going to be crude, but this is what happens, right? This is a crude settlement statement, okay? On this side is the seller, and then down here at the very bottom of the settlement statement is what they make. This is their net. This is what they're going to walk away with. This is the cash in their pocket. All right. All of this, it shows the price, and then maybe they have some past taxes. Maybe you're paying all the closing costs, so then it just nets them. They have to pay off their mortgage, their whatever. It's like that, right? And then, but the buyer side, this is where the assignment fee is. It's on the buyer's side of the ledger. So when the seller's looking down this thing, by the way, most sellers have seen one, maybe two settlement statements in their life. It's very confusing, but you've got the seller settlement statement, and then the buyer's here. If the buyer has more costs, this is a cost for the buyer that they're paying. Seller doesn't care. Seller's net is the same. They see, okay, my taxes are paid off my mortgage. This is the price I agreed on. This is how much I'm walking away with. They're not jumping over here and saying, wait a second. Wait just a tick here. What's happening? This is outrageous. This is absolutely outrageous. Somebody's paying you money? Somebody's giving you money? Ryan, how dare they want to give you money? You shouldn't get any money. They don't care. That's not a conversation. Listen, I have had more attorneys review, like family attorneys, estate attorneys, review the closing statement and have no problems. I've had a judge review it and not have any problems. I am telling you, the fear of worrying about a seller seeing an assignment fee, knowing what the hell it is, and caring how much money you're making. It just doesn't factor.
I think 9 times out of 10, the issue we come across with the sellers, and it's usually the agents, and I think it's because they see that their commission is X amount and the assignment fee is this, and it's more of just like
But most agents don't.
They don't get it.
They don't care. They're transaction coordinator. Do they?
We get some kickback when we have a big assignment on there. That's where it's like if we hit over 25, we have to double close.
Really?
Just the on market ones. We just get some agents that I don't know what it is about having that real estate license. They think that they're like an attorney and they're like going line by line. Doesn't matter buyer or seller side. They're like, wait a second, I've never seen this before.
Yeah, but has it stopped any deals?
One time I had
How?
the seller refused to sign. We had to go in and get a whole thing all figured out.
Because the agent said that they're making money on it?
Basically.
Got it.
And so it was one time. But keep in mind also, I've done hundreds of deals.
Yeah.
One time.
Right.
One time. So
There you go.
don't let it be a limiting belief, like Brent said. Just the buyer's paying it.
Yep.
Ooh, from
Closing
Amit.
all right.
Boom.
Closing my first deal for this year next week. TTP. Let's go.
Let's go. Okay.
Would love to know how much.
Yeah, how much we making here, buddy?
What are we talking about here? Stop messing around, Amit. You better tell us how much. Better put that amount in there so that we can see what's going on. But congratulations, that's fantastic.
Amazing. I love to see people that are crushing it to start the new year. That's the hardest part. Is just once you get that snowballs.
Yep. That's amazing.
All right, from Caxi, should you tell the title company that you are a wholesaler if you're trying to get a copy of the purchase sale agreement? Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter if you tell them you're a wholesaler or you're a buyer. I would tell them, hey, I'm doing a lot of deals, and I want to bring these deals to your title company. Again, value. You go and you ask them for it. No title company is going to have, again, this is a limiting belief. They're not going to be like, whoa, you're a wholesaler? No way, Jose. They're not going to do that because guess what? If they push you away and they are an investor-friendly title company, they're losing a potential client. You go to them and ask for a purchase sale agreement. It doesn't matter. You could even tell them like, hey, I'm a farmer for all it matters.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
they will give you a purchase and sale agreement.
Well, and also, listen, you need to consider yourself a real estate investor.
Absolutely. Yep. I love that.
You need to have the ability to
confidence.
purchase. I mean, that's
You walk in
know
and
what
say,
I mean?
I'm this.
If you're like, I'm a wholesaler, they're like, what is it? Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
I'm a title rep.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. No, you're a real estate investor. I want to build a long relationship with you. Nobody wants to stay just sourcing deals and not taking down properties and doing something special.
Right.
The whole point of the thing is to get up to source discounted properties, and then you have so many different options. Hey, Matt, do you mind pulling up? I know it's in the archives. The foundation is wholesaling and the different houses there. It's really important, but you are a real estate investor. That is what you are, Caxi. You are a real estate investor, and you want to do a lot of business with this title company.
Mm-hmm.
That's who you are.
And they're not going to tell you no.
Yep.
They're not going to tell you no.
Here you go. Here's real estate investing in one picture. Discounted properties. You see that in the parentheses. Wholesale. All it is finding discounted properties. All wholesaling is the art of sourcing discounted properties. That's all it is. That's all wholesaling is. It's sourcing discounted properties. And then from there, once you build up that wonderful capital and you build up that wonderful experience, then you start doing fix and flip, rental portfolio, development, being the bank, coaching and mentorship, providing that, giving back to the community, right? All those things. But it starts with wholesale. It starts with finding these discounted properties. And I will challenge everybody watching this, everybody watching the replay. I've been shouting it since Monday that if you are getting into real estate, and this is your first year, you need to focus. You need to write the word focus in all capital letters, put it everywhere in your life. Focus on wholesaling real estate your first year. Wholesaling, finding discounted properties, building the machine. I don't want you building a rental portfolio right now. I don't want you fixing and flipping. I don't want you trying to do development deals and all these other things that are going to be a huge distraction. Because I'm telling you this, if you build the foundation of consistently finding discounted properties, you will be set for life because you can do any one of those other things. But what I see time and time again. I've done it. I'm sure you guys have done it. Started, you start making that money, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm going to start cherry picking these deals and doing these other things.
Yep.
And all of a sudden it turns into a huge distraction.
Yep.
We only have a certain amount of tape in here that you can fill up.
Right.
Right.
True.
A certain amount of space in our brain that we can really put energy behind our efforts, and it should be getting a big, healthy, heavy bank account. Two things: ugly properties, big checks. Ugly properties, big checks.
I love it.
For your first year.
Absolutely.
For your first year.
For sure.
There you go.
That needs to be on a wall somewhere.
Seriously.
Oh, this is a mitt coming back in.
Woo,
There we go.
Let's go.
6K.
Let's
I
go.
love it. I love it. Fantastic. $6,000, one conversation, TTP. Mitt. Get it, baby. I love
Good
it.
stuff.
That's phenomenal.
All right, from Nelson. Hey guys, I'm new to wholesaling. I have $1,000 I want to invest into my business. What softwares do I need? I'll let you take that one first.
Yeah, you need Deal Machine. You want to put that up, Matt? Deal Machine right there. Use the coupon code TTP. It's literally the biggest discount that they give you. It's $10 off, but that's your Driving for Dollars app. And what I would do is I would drive around or check out my video on this channel on virtual driving for dollars. It's a step-by-step on how you can use Google Maps to be able to do your driving for dollars. Build your list of the ugliest properties in your community, and then go to batchskiptracing.com, get the phone numbers for those addresses, and then call them up. And then I would use, if you've got that 1,000, I would start with just hand dialing, honestly. If you've just got 1,000, I want you to keep that 1,000. I want you to have that discipline, that business discipline to keep your money, okay? And but get the phone numbers and call them up. I would hand dial them, and if you really want to go bananas, get the batch dialer, and put those addresses and phone numbers. But 80% of brand new real estate investors, brand new real estate wholesalers get their first deal from Driving for Dollars.
For sure.
Yep. The most important one if they don't have it. And that's Insider.
Oh, well, yeah. Get into TTP Insider, obviously. Thank you, Matt. But that's free. I mean, he wants to.
But we can't
TTP Insider. We can't forget about it. Go in there, brother. It's got all the scripts you need, all the resources you need,
Right.
the trackers that you need, the downloads that you need. I am telling you, it is $100,000 minimum value in there. And that is not just me blowing smoke. I am telling you, $100,000 minimum that we put in there of free training and resources and tools. Check it out, for sure.
You know what's crazy though? When you don't have money and you don't have access to everything, it really teaches you how to be resourceful.
Of course.
You know, it's like one of those escape rooms. Have you ever done it? You don't have your phone, you don't have the internet, you don't have anything else. What do you got?
Yeah.
And you suddenly tune into this new side of you. It's like, all right, how can I MacGyver this? Now, how do I put this together to escape? How do I
Survival.
do this? Yeah.
Yep.
It's putting you in this survival mode that you never would be in the first place
Right.
if you had, all the money in the world. Just spend on dialers, spend on leads, spend. Doesn't teach you everything. Well, let me pick up my phone. Digits at a time.
Yep. Love it. Anthony asks, how do you guys deal with the people that go after robocallers? Well, first of all, I do not suggest anybody be a robocaller.
Yeah.
Robocaller literally means it's a machine making the calls. Now, a dialer is different because there's a human being that controls that and a human being that connects with the people. The problem with robodialers is it just connects with thousands of people all the time. It spams people, and it's a machine on the other end. Now, the crazy thing, Anthony, is it is 100% illegal to use robocallers unless you're a politician. Isn't that bananas?
Of course.
Really?
Yes.
I believe it. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh, yeah. You can use it for political campaigns, but you can't use it for anything else.
They're in their own category.
Absolutely bananas. So what I would say, Anthony, is if you're calling somebody, and I assume I know what you meant here, somebody using a dialer. Yeah, I've never had a student. I've never had anybody that has been sued. I've had people that have been threatened to be sued. I've had people that have gotten complaints to the attorney general. But nothing has. I don't know a single lawsuit of somebody going after a independent real estate investor. They threaten them, but they never show up at court. There's literally courses. Like there's a course to teach you how to go out there and find wholesale deals, TTP, right? There's courses that people sell on how to litigate people that cold call them. And most of the time, it's just they send you a letter. They hope that you send them a check. And if you don't, they just don't show up. So I don't know. Anthony, be safe. Just remove the do not call list. How about that? Then you have nothing to worry about. Remove the DNC or focus on just calling real estate agents. It's a commercial number. Once you become a real estate agent, it's a commercial number. You could call those all day long, right? So you've got a ton of different options there, Anthony. You can call real estate agents, scrub against the do not call list. I would highly suggest that you scrub against the litigator list that Batch has with their with all of their data that they have. You can scrub the skip tracing on both of those and just be safe. Just be safe. Be really kind out there. Be a really good example of what a proactive real estate investor can do for a community. It's really impactful. It's really powerful what we can do. So I don't worry about that. And don't do robocalls. Sasha, is there a specific or different script when talking to pre-foreclosures or any tips have when targeting this list?
Yeah, so we've only done a little bit of pre-foreclosures. I kind of did that my first year when I was really targeting the direct-to-seller, trying to mock everybody else's business model.
Yeah.
What you have to understand about pre-foreclosures, this is the list that really got me discouraged against going towards it, is that this is the list that you're going to get cussed out the most. You're going to get like a lot more rejection. This one, you have to understand, most of the time, the sellers are in denial.
Yeah.
They're not even accepting the fact that they're in pre-foreclosure. So I will tell you, full transparency, about 70% of this is going to be right timing. You need to catch them at the right time where they're in the right place, where maybe they didn't just get off the phone with another investor. And it's just consistency. It's coming in understanding that you need to solve a problem for them. You need to be the solution that they didn't know that they needed or that they didn't want to accept that they needed.
Yeah.
So I would say as for script, it's just going in asking them if they've gotten it taken care of to start. And then if they haven't gotten it taken care of, ask if you could sit down with them and go through a few different options. I know Pace does this, but you could, like 7 or 9 solutions?
Yeah, Sasha, there is a phenomenal video that Pace and I did on this channel, a couple different ones. I've done one independently as well that's phenomenal as well, so check that out. One, you have to go with a tremendous amount of empathy. Yes. They are getting bombarded. They're behind. Imagine that you can't pay your bills and everybody starts paying attention to you. Everybody starts calling you. Everybody's trying to get you to pay your bills. And you just don't have the financial means. So a lot of people turtle up. You know what I mean? They hide in their shell and just try to avoid those conversations because it's wildly embarrassing. It's very annoying to get 1,000 calls a day and letters and all these other things. So you have to go with a tremendous amount of empathy and use the same script. They know why you're calling, Sasha. You don't have to hide it. Right. But I wouldn't go in and be like, yeah, it's because you're in pre-foreclosure. I mean, that sets you off on the wrong foot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
right.
It's going in and telling them that private information about their mortgage, not private, I mean, it's public information, but to them it's private information about their bills and their mortgage is rude, I think. Yeah. So go in there with empathy and just ask them if they would consider an offer on their property. There you go, Sasha. Are those the Gary V's?
Of course, bro. Of course.
Gary V. K. Swiss, all right.
Yes, sir.
Nice. Sam. PropStream or batch leads? Well, PropStream just crapped the bed.
I was gonna ask you. So
yeah,
if we could talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
What
we're gonna deep dive this on Monday on Wholesale Hotline. But
what are they? Yeah, what are they gonna do? I mean, what's the point of it then?
It's interesting. When a title company buys a software platform like PropStream, there's gonna be changes. There's going to be changes, and usually title companies look at here's the interesting business side of it. Real estate investors and wholesalers do not have long-term, there's a lot of turnover.
Yes.
Right? So because there's a lot of turnover, a company looks at, okay, well, how do we get less turnover and a more high quality client to use this or customer to use this platform?
Okay.
And then they go, well, how do we attract real estate agents?
Okay.
How do we put this as a real estate agent tool?
Right.
How do we make sure that we make this platform really strong and get loud about it to real estate agents? And then they go, okay, well, if we have real estate agents using the platform, they already have the MLS.
Absolutely.
Why would we pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for the data?
Okay. That makes sense. I mean, I would say easy answer for this is just batch leads.
If we're trying to attract other people. Anyway, we'll deep dive this a lot more on Wholesale Hotline, but batchleads.io, TTP.
Couldn't agree more.
There you go.
Batch leads is the way to go.
And plus, we've had batch leads for years anyway. We stack our lists there. You can text blast from there. You can skip trace from there. You can it organizes and keeps you updated on every property that goes vacant every single month on there. It's phenomenal. So check it out.
Batch leads.
What's the formula to make a quick offer over the phone? Anthony, great question. So really there is 3 options here. We need to get that iPad back up here, Matt. Anyway, if the property is $250,000 or more, you're going to want to offer 66%. If it is between $250,000 and $100,000, you are going to offer 50%. Okay, and then if it's under 100,000 then you are going to offer 25%. So that's kind of what it looks like, Anthony, right? 250K or above 66, 250 to 150, and 100K and below 25%. Don't overcomplicate it, brother. By the way, you should be getting the price out of that property owner. You should be getting that property owner to give you that price first. So only throw it out if you feel like you want to disqualify them or just to test the waters.
That's probably the most used thing that you put on the board.
It's the most used thing.
It needs to be a graphic.
Yeah, it needs to be a graphic.
We need to make that graphic.
Can we make that a graphic?
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, let's make that a graphic. Will you text Alejandra? All right.
She's watching.
She's watching.
Alejandra, please. Jason.
All right, I'm looking at an on-market deal that is half renovated. How should I come up with an offer price? So, I mean, just like I said a minute ago, when you call this person, this deal's on market. So, if it's half renovated, what happened? Did they run out of money?
Yeah.
Did they find something that was like a big oops that doesn't make it a deal anymore?
How long has it been on the market?
Exactly. Figure out the situation. Then that will determine from the motivation and situation and what you could determine from the photos what the offer price would be. Obviously, if it's half done, half the renovation. So I would personally, if you're in this market, I would like to walk this property, maybe see what the actual condition is. Or if you aren't in this market, a beautiful thing is having the listing agent walk it for you because it's their listing, send you a video, they represent you in the transaction.
Yep.
But more importantly, it's half renovated. What happened? That's what I would ask first.
Yeah, and are they asking retail?
Right. Right.
Why is it sitting on the market?
It's usually price or condition.
It's always price.
Yep.
It's always price. It's always price. If the condition is rough, then the price has to match it.
Correct.
So, you could probably go 20. It depends on what market you're at. Mm-hmm. But the property, the part of the property that isn't renovated, typically $25 a square foot to $35 a square foot is a good metric to use. And you just times that by the amount of square footage. But it depends. If they did the kitchen and bathrooms, which is way more expensive, I mean, listen, you can renovate a whole bedroom for like $800. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's flooring, it's baseboards, it's paint, and it's closet doors.
Yes.
I mean, most of the time you don't even have to put window coverings on because people pick those out anyway.
Yep.
Maybe a fan.
Yeah.
Maybe door handles and a door stop.
Yeah, that and labor. That's probably your most expensive.
Let's call it $1,000. But if you go into a kitchen, you could spend $50K in a kitchen.
Easily.
You could spend $15K in a hall bathroom.
Yes.
Oh, I definitely can.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it just depends. You could spend $10K redoing the whole heating or air conditioning. You could spend $10K resurfacing a pool and pool equipment.
25, 30 for a roof if you
You
really
can
want
also
to.
spend $5 to $10K ripping down someone else's not too good work.
Of course.
Right.
Yeah. So one,
At-
is the work that they did any good? Is it something that you'd want to keep, or is the design just terrible?
start over.
And it's somebody that like really does not have a design eye. You know, like the best is when dudes like
my gosh.
listen, let me explain something to you. If you do not have a creative background, if you do not have an art background, if you do not have an interior design background, if you do not have any of that, and you want to make the most on your flips, you better hire a woman. I'm telling you, you hire a gal to go in and help put this all together and not make it a dude like villa, a dude house with all
Man
the
cave and
blacks
everything.
and the
Yep.
darks and all that other stuff.
I feel
you
attacked.
will make so much more money, huh?
Listen, I feel attacked over here.
Yeah, you should. You should. Good luck selling your house. No, I'm just telling you. I am telling you, get a perspective
Oh my gosh.
of a woman, because there are so many
All right,
people
we gotta
that
paint sunburst.
that leave so much money on the table because they go and bro it out.
Yeah.
And it's all like metals.
This is my personal
and,
residence you're talking
and
about.
dark. I'm sure. I'm sure. Listen, I get it.
All dark grays
But
and
you're,
everything.
You're
yep.
leaving yourself a small market of bros that are going to buy that house after you.
I
You
ain't
know
selling.
what I
That's
mean?
fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. It literally.
Everything's like super aggressive,
Yep.
dark.
I put shiplap.
Yeah.
That's cool.
What color is it?
It's white.
Okay.
white, we're
You
good.
got white ship.
But the rest of the house is all dark gray. So I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean,
exactly.
yeah, I'm definitely attacked right now too.
Yep.
It's okay.
There you go. Just some advice. I'm just telling you. I know what gets the most in these markets, and it is what appeals to the biggest amount of people.
Oh,
There you
man.
go.
I'm reconsidering my tactics now.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you. I get it. You guys are young, though. You'll get it. After you get an executed contract on an on-market deal and assign it to your buyer, will he have a problem not wanting to pay a higher price when he sees the listed price on Redfin and Zillow? Well, you got to get it under the price on Redfin and Zillow. That's the key. Not all the time, maybe, but for
Yeah.
the most part, you do.
Yeah.
And the other part is, if it's a deal, it's a deal. So if you are selling it to somebody that is just getting into it, or has only done a few, or only has a few under their belt, they might have a problem.
Right.
But the big baller guys, they don't care.
Exactly.
They need to keep their crews
if
busy.
it's a deal, it's
they
a
need to
deal.
make some money. They need to keep the ball rolling. They need to keep the momentum going. The biggest fear of a big time fix and flip renovation company is running out of opportunities. It's the biggest fear that they have. They will break even on a deal to keep their crews busy. So if they have a problem, listen, you wouldn't even assign it to them if they had a problem with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if you assign it to them and they're like, "Oh, this is on market," you're like, you committed your earnest money. You committed to this deal. Did you not do any due diligence? Did you not say, if that was a problem, I would have loved to have known that before I assigned this deal to you. I've got 7 other buyers that want it. Do you want to stay in this thing and protect your earnest money, or do you want to lose your earnest money and bail out of this?
Right.
I mean, I'm being aggressive. I'm being like a tough guy here. I wouldn't say that on the phone, like in general. I would just be like,
What's the issue? Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Did the numbers somehow not work anymore?
Right. And I would tell you with full confidence too, for every like 50 deals you do, one of them will be at the list price or above it. But also too, the conversation that Brent just said, the one time that will happen is you will tell them, "Oh yeah, because you're right, it is on market. There was 15 other people that were going after this, and I got it, so it's exclusively available through me. If you don't want it, it's okay. I'm going to buy this myself because we have the buying capability." And then from there, you basically just make them play their cards, see what they're going to do. But if it's a deal, it's a deal.
If they commit to it and try to back out, I mean, that's a
bad buyer.
Yeah.
It's a bad buyer.
Yep. How do you close out a successful cold call when you're working virtually and not in the area to come by for a look? Well, Drew, you need to have boots on the ground if they want you to have, if they want somebody out there. I mean, Drew, you can have a conversation with them and just say, "Hey, listen, I buy in your market. I live here. Do you mind going around and just doing a video of the property and taking some pictures, sending it to me, and I'll get you a solid offer on it?" You know, if you're competing and they want other people and they want their hand held and they want the warm and fuzzy and they're really like, I need somebody that is committed here, then you need to squad up with a really good real estate agent in that market that you're referring all the deals that want retail to. You're giving them all these opportunities to make income from all your dead leads that will never do business with you. And in response to that, in reciprocation of that, they are going to go on these appointments for you and get the contract signed, and then so build that relationship, have boots on the ground. Yeah.
Love it.
One more.
Let's do one more.
Edgar.
All right, amigos. I have some money from a 401k from my last job. Should I use this money to support my first deals, or should I just try wholesaling with no money? It's a good question, man. I mean, we're going to have two different answers here. Yep. I'm going to tell you to focus specifically on agent outreach. Focus on building the relationships with the agents because it is free. Most important part of this business where most people go wrong is that they run out of money or they're not making enough because they're not saving enough. So if you're able to keep money in your 401k or keep it just in your bank account, I would recommend every single time to start with the agent outreach method. Obviously, become a buyer first, then build these relationships with these agents. You could get 5 deals in your first 60 days if you really push hard enough with agent outreach, and then build up the capital, then reinvest and deploy into things that you decide you want. So.
Yeah, Edgar, it just depends on if you have more savings outside of the 401k. The mentality, I don't have a 401k. There's a joke about 401ks about you know how like there's 10Ks and 5Ks? That's running a lot of Ks is 401k. Anyway, here we go. So I would say that once it goes in, it stays in there. It stays in there. It stays in your 401k. You can do this just working it.
Yep.
Just doing it. Just like put in the work, have the conversations, build a list of ugly properties, and start making calls. It really shouldn't have to dip into your savings too much. I mean, I started $750,000 in debt, like real debt, a judgment debt. Every 90 days having to sit with attorneys and show them my bank account debt, like 400 credit score debt. I couldn't open up a checking account debt, right? So, I mean, you could do this with none of it, and I highly suggest that you do. Once the 401ks are in there, you keep them in there.
Love that.
There you go.
Boom.
And that's it. Thank you
go.
guys. What a great show. What a great start to it. We got some exciting things coming out. Why don't you tell everybody about your event?
Yeah, so we have next Tuesday. This is about to be the biggest event that we have ever thrown. I am super excited. I have over a dozen people that have already messaged me in the last week that have booked flights to come out. So if you are in the surrounding area, or you are in Phoenix, Arizona in general, wherever, come to this event. We rented out an entire restaurant for this event. We have the luxury of having Jamil Damji and Pace Morby as our guest speakers. We had the Secret Agent Challenge that if you missed it a couple weeks back, it was back in December. And we have a VIP guest that won an all-exclusive trip out to come to Arizona to meet and shadow us. So I'm also putting this out there for everybody. If you're coming from another state, let me know. I will personally go out of my way to meet with you while you're out here because I want you guys to understand the value of how important it is to squad up and network with others.
How do they get all the info?
It is on our Instagram, and we are posting it all over Discord as well. But it is going to be at El Jefe's Tacos and Sushi. Weird mix, but it's actually good.
Yep.
Out in Tempe off of 101 and what? Is it?
University.
Awesome.
University.
So it starts at 5 p.m. It is going to be absolutely wild. I'm expecting 150 plus people to be there. We have the entire place shut down for the night. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
There you go, guys. Real quick before we go, Matt, do you mind putting up the blueprint for Millionaire Before 30? Thank you here. Just because we do this every time and just to pound it into your brain and sear it in there. You start with doing a deal. Do a deal first.
Yes.
Find the proof of concept. Get that income coming in. Pull income out of the air through your real estate efforts.
Once you get the deal, like Brent said, proof of concept, right then and there, you start to establish confidence. Once you're able to do a deal, you could show that you could do this full time. So you transition to this business full time. You're able to put all your effort, energy, sweat, tears, and love into what you're doing into this business full time, and your business starts to grow exponentially.
That's right. And then kill the debt. Stop being somebody else's ROI.
Yep. Once you do all that, oh my gosh.
I'm talking consumer debt. I'm talking car loans. I'm talking student loans. This
Back to
Listen,
zero.
I understand student loans isn't consumer debt, but you get it. Like, get that. Stop putting in all this effort, getting all this income coming in, and then giving it to somebody else. Do you know the average American from January to October 1st pays for their taxes and interest? People only make money that they take home October, November, December.
Wow.
That's bananas.
Wow.
It's absolutely bananas because people are paying interest and people are paying taxes. It's wild. Stop doing it. Kill the debt.
Yep, you're back to ground zero. No more debt. This is where the game really starts.
Yep.
Once you start to build it because you're doing the deals, you're full-time in this business, you're back at ground zero where you don't have any consumer debt, then you start taking the money that you are making and you invest it into assets. This is where you invest back into the things that are going to start bringing in money. This is passive. This is where you start to then see the biggest growth of all, which obviously gets us to the main goal that we're all doing this for, which is the fifth and final step.
Financial freedom.
Beautiful.
And that basically means you have control of the time that you have left on this planet, baby.
Love it.
That's what financial freedom gives you. It gives you control. And that's what we want for everybody out there. I know that you can do this. Go out there and take serious action. We'll see you next week.
Later, guys.
Love you guys.
I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me.